Hey everyone, how you doing today? Thought I would just get a quick video out today with a couple of updates. To start with, over the weekend I got the Ballista or MCRN-Ballista released, so happy about that. I did do a few more things to the tank since it was in its proto form. Basically, I added in a little bit of detail stuff on the interior, a little bit of deco things, new LCD up here. Just kind of try to tweak everything out just a little bit and get, a little bit more detail into the interior of the ship, or tank, I should say. Other than that, same thing, works the same, just a little bit more tweaked. The other one, this MX5E, complete now. Pretty happy with it, actually. It was a lot of work, a lot more work than I anticipated, for sure. Probably total combined time of updating this is probably about, I don't know, somewhere between 6 and 8 hours to make this new version of the ship. But it does look pretty close to the original. In fact, hold on a second. I'm just going to compare it side by side to the original. I did make a backup copy of it. Now the new one is the replaced blueprint. I haven't uploaded it yet, and I will very soon, actually. So here's the original 5E. This one wasn't designed for any upgrades, really, besides adding some front guns to it. Now there was a huge amount of changes done to between these two ships. Pretty much all the thrusters are in new locations now. That was a biggie. I actually eliminated the rocket launcher mounting spots now from the front of the ship and put them back over here. Because I used to have thrusters here, and it made sense to me to put them out of the way, more tucked away on the sides, and have them right up front. Therefore, it should hopefully draw fire away from the cockpit. Now, on a list of changes to start with, the most minor change is the original cockpit was a standard one. This one is an armored cockpit, so 1800 hit point cockpit. The original ship had things up here that were vulnerable, such as RCS and some O2 tanks and stuff like that. The new ship does not. It's filled in much more in the front area. So it's just all around tougher up here, especially now with the much stronger cockpit as well. And there's no rocket launchers in the very front of the ship. Other change, added a drone hatch. So you now have a drone hatch on the top here, and there's an internal switch there. This new ship doesn't use any RCS at all, similar to the other ones. I did get the little wings back on here, and I messed with the prefab wings, and there wasn't any that worked with the shape I was looking to go for, so I went back to what I originally had. I also tweaked the entire body colors and textures, kept it similar, but it's a little less sloppy. This one, I think I had a lot of I don't know, things on it, little textury things. This one's a bit smoother, but I still left some of the lines and things like that. I just kind of updated the textures. This one worked with the original color palette. This one uses the new color palette, and it has some more variations in gray tones and things on it. So that's kind of the cosmetic changes on the exterior. Now the interior is quite a lot different as well. So the original interior here, you had a couple constructors and ammo boxes and warp over there. Now some of these textures and things got misaligned over time. So I believe when I first released it, it did look better, and I didn't have like some of these textures all lined up weird like that. But things changed. You get an idea on the original interior. The new interior, it switched around quite a bit. New warp core housing, shield housing area. I left information for updating this to Tier 3 and all the steps you need to do. And it's basically, I'm going to go through that a minute too. But first, take a look at the CPU. So we're at 14,920 at the end here. Let me grab a bunch of parts. I probably should have pre-grabbed these. I didn't think about that. Sorry about that. But let me grab some generators, some Tier 3 blocks, shield. Where is it? Constructor. And Gatling guns and rocket launchers. So yeah, there's quite a bit of updating to this thing for sure. Let's put those there. So to start with, pretty simple process though, it would be to zap out the existing Tier 2 block and then slap in 2 of these Tier 3 blocks. I'm going to just try to make them pretty. So we got that part done. Next part would be to add in 2 generators labeled G, and I've got all this on the sign too on exactly what to do. So those go here and here. Next part would be to add in the shield. That goes here. Then a constructor there, and then on the weapons, add in 2 more Gatling guns in these locations, and then add in 4 rocket launchers in these locations. And now it is a Tier 3 ship with decent weapons plus a shield. And I will say it's quite a bit tougher than the original ship, especially once updated. But even before it was updated, it is a stronger ship than the original. When it's all done, that puts it at 39,319 on CPU, and everything's 100%. Now, after it's updated, if it was updated, it brings the total build time up to 1 hour and 38 minutes from where it was. The original ship had a 1 hour and 28 minute time. Here, let me just respawn the new one again. And the new one actually has a lower build time than the original. Now, when I was looking at the materials needed for it, I realized that I was kind of banging my head against the wall on what required sathium and neodymium. Turns out it's the CPU block. So I was like removing parts. Is like, does this require that or does that require that? No, it was the CPU block. So I could not remove these 2 semi-rare materials. I won't really call them rares, but mid-step materials there. So I cannot get those out of the build because it's a Tier 2. But other than that, yeah, it does good. Flying around with it, even after wait, do I have the updated version here or not? Yeah, I do. Okay, so it does all right. I just want to compare this a minute to how the original flies too. Let me get back over there a second. Just give you a little bit of fuel first here. Oh, well, the original doesn't fly. What was I thinking? Never mind. So yeah, obviously it flies a whole lot better, but yeah, with the CPU and stuff, I can't even like really see how the old ship flies anymore, unless I redo my settings. But I'm in creative, and I guess you cannot turn off CPU in creative mode. There's no option for it. You can in survival though, but not creative. That's something I didn't realize before either. But overall, it's done and complete. The only thing I have left to do is update the blueprint. But I wanted to take some new screenshots too, and new stat screenshots and things like that for the post, because it's radically different than the original ship, and a bit of false advertising if I just released it without any new information about it. Oh, I forgot one step on the sign, or on the update, and that is to remove this sign when finished. So, there you go. Now it is fully updated. As in other projects, what I'm going to be shifting my attention to, I'm sorry, I missed one last thing, and that is I did raise the ship up another block off the ground, put on newer landing gear, changed the rear ramp on it to go to the ground again. So that allowed me to get, let me raise this up a little bit here, to get some extra blocks covering up some of these front thruster areas and things like that. I also tweaked out the bottom of the ship a little bit too from the original, but it's very, very similar in those regards. I guess the biggest changes overall that were made was, well, it's got a completely new interior and all new thruster placements. I refined some blocks, used some of the newer curvy blocks here and there, but I really tried to keep this very similar to the original too. I didn't want to go like on a tangent and like make a new ship out of it completely. At least this looks like the original ship, but it's really very much different than the original ship. But I think it's better. I think it's better than it ever was. I'm hoping. So, as in projects that I want to be getting to now, I got to dive in and get some time into the space carrier and the Creel tripod CV. Also, I kind of want to work on one of those CVs I was working on for a different author as well. Now I got one last challenge this month. Now this MX5 update, it was actually for Excalibur's challenge, but I wanted to participate in Zero G's challenge too, and that is to build a sleeper like CV. In other words, like it looks fairly defenseless and weak, but under the hood, so to say, it's got a lot more to it. And would be kind of surprising. Now, I'm not sure exactly what I want to do for that build yet. I've been kind of thinking about it. I don't want to have anything too big. What I really need is some starter CVs for a couple races, the Creel and the MCRN, which I don't have anything in their collections for those kinds of things right now. So I'm going to try to build some kind of starter CV. That's kind of a sleeper, I guess. And I'm not sure which race I'm going to build it for yet. The Creel, typically, I don't think they look like sleepers, and neither really do the MCRN, but and the humans really don't need another starter CV, not at the time. But I'm thinking about that one, and I might do like build videos on that particular build. Now there's something else I was loosely thinking about trying, and something I haven't really done before, and that is to I thought about trying to build like a medieval looking castle. I noticed there's quite a few different stone and wood textures and things like that. It wouldn't be for any particular faction, and kind of an experiment to see what I could actually come up with in a completely different theme and style. And that also might take place in the near future. I've always wanted to mess with it. It's just one of those things I haven't done with the game. And I've seen some other builds out there, and just taking a look at some of the textures and stuff that I typically never use, especially with the concrete and the wood textures. Be interesting to see what could be done for something like that, but it wouldn't really fit well, I don't think, with the game. The game is obviously space and planets and things like that, and medieval castles don't really fit into that theme very well, but it doesn't mean it can't be fun. Anyway, that's it for today. Probably within an hour or two from the time I release this video, I'll have this MX5E updated on the workshop. Just after I gotta go run around and take some pictures and some new stat screens and do a little bit of graphics for the probably the new picture for the post, and then it should be complete. But anyway, y'all have a good day. I'll see you later.